Welcome back. This is Nerd Dad on episode 18, which we are going to dub the robot episode. Yes, we have finally got ourselves something else. What are we going to do with this? Maybe we should think about where we're going to go in the future. We should start thinking about future potions. No, let's just keep working on our trash slots and things. I think I just want to kind of get our robotics up and going the way we want to. Okay, we got a bunch of extra crud here, so we're going to deal with that. We've got the ability to build storage chests now, so that's another thing we could automate quickly, is we could automate some storage chests. I'm just going to build them in my bag right now, and frankly, I want to be really careful with this storage chest for now. They can cause some grief. Oh, the inventory's full. Thank you. Well, let's go deal with that. And then we'll come pick up a bunch of stuff and get moving here. So a little bit of housework and then we'll have some play. Okay, it's still liking to see these nice thick lines. We're still getting some decent things out. I want to come way over here because I want to get rid of the logs that are in my backpack. So we're going to do that. Just dump all that lumber in there. 2, I want to use this to get rid of a bunch of things that I'm probably never going to use again. What else we got in our bag that we might never use again? If we sub off this heavy armor for this light armor, we will never use the light armor again. And we can probably dump some of that inside of some other things. And I noticed we were getting a little bit shy on telephone poles, or power poles, whatever we're calling them. And I wanted to come down here and grab a couple of things as well, because we're going to do a few things this episode. We're gonna actually humming and hawing. We got one storage chest. We'll grab a provider chest for right now. And how is this looking, this ammo? Where did I go? Sorry, I'm just doing a bit of double checking here. Yeah, that all seems to be working properly, so that's good. And this looks like it got... Oh, it bled. We did bleed the line off. Unfortunately, that was a bad plan. So we've got some alternatives here. We're going to have to turn that. Unfortunately, we're not pushing out as much ammo as I had been hoping we would. And what seems to be our problem? Well, it seems like we're still not getting enough copper. So we really need to work on our copper, apparently. But we've got enough ammo now to be dangerous. We have 400 rounds. That hopefully will get us to where we're going to go. And I'm kind of glad we've got the yellow in our bags because we're going to be doing something a little strange. Okay, so how does this work? That's a great question. Well, first of all, we're going to have to get roboports, which we have. And then we're going to grab a bunch of construction robots. And we will grab, well, we don't really need the logistics right now. Why don't we grab, I don't know, 25 logistics? Why don't we grab 50? And we'll grab 50 of those. Okay. So, if you've played before, you know how all this works, and please bear with me. But I'm going to start explaining what we're going to be doing here with some of this logistical stuff. Now, I'm just kind of taking a look around and seeing what we got going on here. This corner down here is taking quite a bit of a beat up. So we might think about how we're going to build. I might build off of this corner for now, because I don't really see myself... Well, if I push down this way, it's going to be probably by rail, and we'll probably build a train center in here. I'm thinking we're going to actually do what I've been thinking, which is cutting right across here. But first thing we got to do is get up here and get oil. So I'm going to start our logistics down here first, just to start working on a grid. So you can see when I'm carrying this roboport in my hand, there's this great big brown square, and then there's a green square. Well, the green square is basically the area of operation of the robot. So they'll go out and they'll chop trees and they'll do all sorts of things in there. But the blue area is basically where the logistical robots will work within. So the green sort of your, if you want to think of it this way, your construction robots. But the brown area is kind of what you need to keep connecting so that you have a logistical network in place. Now, I'm just kind of lining this up because what I'm trying to do is make it so that I can maybe just bring this... Sorry, get concrete. I'm thinking about where I can place this in this middle piece. It's either I'm placing on either side, but if I place on either side of here, that means that I'm going to be bumping into my factories, whereas if I can do this, I can kind of hopscotch between the lanes. So if I was to do, like if we were to say, okay, we're going to build one, let's say we're going to build one, just let's get a quick eyeball. If I wanted to build one there, and I said that was where it needs to go, then I need to chop out 1, 2, 3. Well, I think I can fit it in here with one of these. Oops, one too many. I think it fits in there. I think it's a 4. I think it's a 4x4 footprint. And there we go. We should be able to drop that right in there. And we just need to feed it some power then. We just kind of do something like this. Now it's got some power. It'll take it a couple seconds to acknowledge it has power. Why is it taking... because that isn't connected. I thought that said it was connected. Nope, 1 too short. There we go. Okay, so I can actually now just throw my robots in here. I can just throw them in there. And they will work as long as and we'll look at the map for this, is you can see our port here, and if we go and flick up logistical networks, there we go. We can easily see our network. We can see where we're joined. And now we start getting things like, hey, I can't repair this. And it's telling me that I'm missing things. It needs some guns. We lost some guns? Oh, it's got guns it wants to repair. It sounds like it's looking for guns, which is strange. Huh. Oh, they're missing repair packs. I thought it was missing the guns. So we need to build a bunch of repair packs. So this is sort of one of the first things I start thinking about doing is, how do I automate my repair packs and keep repair packs full? We need some gears and we need some gear wheels. So we're going to work on that a little bit. Hopefully I will remember. But in the meantime, we're just going to grab a bunch of this. Let's grab some greens off there. I noticed our greens are getting a little bit thin. So we are starting to tax those lines a little bit. And let's just build a bunch more of these. Now what is great about this is we can just throw these repair packs into here, and you'll see all of a sudden a construction robot will take off because he will now start repairing anything inside that grid, which is just what I was talking about, which is fantastic for us because now we don't have to run around repairing the walls and things as long as they're within our grid. So as long as they're within that green box, we'll get a repair. In fact, I thought he went outside the box, but I don't think he did. Okay, so now what we want to do, though, is now we don't want to build another one way down here. We want to actually keep these brown zones connected. And what you're going to see is I get a yellow line, and that tells me I'm connected to my logistical network. So we want to ensure that we keep these brown boxes or orange boxes together, and we have these yellow lines when we're building our next sets. It's key to how you do it. And then what you will find is often that these great big power lines are fantastic for keeping these in alignment. You just don't have to run quite as much power. So now all of a sudden, you can see that all of a sudden my logistical, when I built that, I'm granted sort of it kind of falls in with fake batteries. And until it gives you a bit of time to hook your power up, which is kind of nice. But as soon as I dropped that, what happened was my robots up in here said, oh, part of the network now is way down there and we need to do some repairs. So they came down here and automatically repaired. So what we really want to do is get our whole base covered by logistical networks. We're not going to do that right off the go here. We're going to focus on a couple other things instead. Especially with this big swarm of bugs that keeps coming down this side, I'm going to try to make sure that we maintain some semblance of repair all the way down this side. So also, it's going to be much easier for us to expand our network on this side because we haven't finished building. So we may as well sort of, build for our network at this point. And you can tell that I didn't talk about this earlier, so I don't really worry about it typically at the front end of the game. It's the back end where you really want to start thinking about where these all going to fit. Now, you can see I'm kind of got myself a little bit of a problem here where I'm going to bump that track, but that's okay because we can cut that track and just bump it over a bit. So we're going to do that. So we're just going to have to rethink a little bit about where this goes, and we will just do that. Now, we're not going to do that everywhere, but we are going to do it here because we're going to try to keep, from here on in, we want to keep our network pretty tight. I'm not sure I can get through there. Oh, I can. I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to be able to get through there. And you can see we've burnt off our greens here. So, yeah, we need to start thinking about expanding greens again. We knew we'd pull the green circuits off, and I'm not fretting it. We've got enough robots to keep us busy for a little while here. And we're going to get one more, and that'll get us basically up this I was going to say coastline here, but it's not a coastline. And there we go. Make sure it's not on top of my head. And we'll get a bit more of these big electric power poles, and we'll just bring that one right down to the other one. And we're going to need some more of those, obviously. And hopefully that wasn't too far. There we go. And why don't we build some more of those? I think we have enough steel on us. There we go. So there we go. So we've started our network. We look at a map now, and we've got a bit of a network set up. So we can actually do all sorts of neat things in this zone now. So I'm going to show off a couple of other things for those people that haven't used networks before. One thing is we can use these storage chests. Now, I want to throw a caution at you that if you have a storage chest here and you start throwing network instructions to yourself up here to chop trees, and it is part of your network, your robots will fly all the way from there to fill this chest down here, and it will slow you down. So you got to be careful where you always connect your network. Sometimes the best thing you can do is build a solo network that is disengaged from your network to expand and then connect it later. So just be really careful what you do with these warehouses. If you find your robots are all flying off, there's a very good chance that you've got one of these sitting there and your robots are flying back and forth. As you get into the later game where you got thousands of robots, you don't need to worry about it so much. At the beginning of the game when you only got a few hundred, it can cause you problems because you're waiting to chop down trees and you're like, why is it taking so long for my robots to get here? And I can guarantee you I will likely make that mistake at least several hundred times during these episodes. But that said, now we can start playing with robots and logistics. So, again, I'm going to do a little bit of a tutorial for people here, but I'll try to keep it short for those people that have played. Up here we have a blueprint library. So you can see when I click it open, I can actually get a book, which we'll get in a little bit. There's new blueprints and there's deconstructor planners. I want the deconstructor planner to start with. And the reason why I want that is because I want to chop down some trees. So when I click on it, you can see it actually throws my grid up for me. So it tells me how far I can do things. And what you can use these for, this is what I was saying, we want these for trees. And actually, let's do it with the trees we got in our base that we've been talking about. What we can do is we can just basically take these and we can paint. And we can just go, okay, paint over that box there. And as soon as we do that, what we'll find is the robots will come from wherever they are, the constructors, and wherever they're hiding, which are way down there, they're going to come along and they're going to pick those up and go throw them back in our box, which is back here. And you can tell they're traveling at a kind of decent pace. They run a little bit slower than we do, which is why we want to keep working on getting that robot construction speed, that worker speed, up as high as we can get it. It's going to be a while for us because we're quite a ways off the purples, but we will get there. So there you go. And as you have more and more robots and they're closer, like, because these guys, when they drop this off, they will jump into there. I'll be closer next time. And you don't really need to worry about it. I mean, I can just come up here and I can go, okay, get rid of all these trees. Make sure I don't paint over something I need, like a power line or a piece of transport belt. And I can just kind of walk away and know that it's going to be done. I can just get that for me. Get those out of my way. Get this out of my way. Come pick up this stone. And basically, it's something I don't have to worry about. They're going to go off and do their things. And here comes a whole swath of them, you can see. And this is where it starts to get fun. You kind of just can go in and you can start to see the potential of having these being able to just go in and do a bunch of stuff for you, and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, but it also means more. There's more. One of the best things about these robots, and we're going to want some in our backpack when we do this, is we're going to want some constructor robots when we go out to fight. And the reason why is because, actually we don't need that many in case we have an accident and, perish. They will repair the guns for us when we're fighting. So we don't need to sit there and try to repair our own guns. And I'm going to explain why that's great for the way I like to fight. If we were to work on rockets and explosives and all sorts of things right now, we could go out and blast up things. And it's fun. And we will do that at some point. And we can use flamethrowers. In fact, we probably should get that working. But I'm going to sort of show you this sort of first phase of how I fight. And then we'll kind of walk into all the other different types just so we can kind of get a feel for it. We did pick up our ammo already. What am I down here looking for? I'm looking for roboports. I just want some just in case I decide to do some tree clearance. Where did we build the roboports? I know they're around. I've lost them already. There we go. I need a big flashing light. Pick up your roboports here. Oh, we got 20 already. That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely these greens are going to be a little bit of a taxonomy for us, so we're going to have to... A taxonomy? Are going to be a bit of a taxation for us. I'm sure that's the right way I want to say that. Okay. What else does it mean? Well, it means we've got happy things to happen. We are getting there. Oh, this is fantastic. I think we're going to go and do a couple of things here. We want this oil. We know that it's what's slowing us down, or at least it was for the longest time. Is it still our problem? Just want to check it out. Oh, actually, we've caught up. Oh, we've caught right up. In fact, we have bled off. In fact, we've actually reversed our problems. We've made it so that we can't really burn the oil because, well, we have so much petroleum gas. And in fact, what might become a problem? No, we're okay. We're good with lubricant. We've actually converting so fast we've kept this full. So I was actually thinking oil was our biggest problem, but it actually isn't anymore. We're on top of it. So maybe we'll actually do the other expansion first then. Really do kind of want to get crazy with that flamethrower too. So many things I want to do this game. Nuclear power too. Wow, it's a nice thing about where we are in the game. There's all sorts of things for us to play with. Let's just keep working on our mining productivity. That seems to be our biggest issue. Keeping things mining fast and quickly. Okay, so what else are we going to do with these lovely little guys? Well, we're going to start talking expansion. So I think what we're going to do, look at that miserable mess. I think we want to talk expansion here, and there's a couple reasons I want to do expansion, because it's going to allow us to show how to build with these puppies, and it's going to show us how to fight with them. So we're going to do a little bit of both here, and then we will move on, as they say. Okay, let's get way down here. I was actually thinking we were going to go north with that oil until I saw how much petroleum we had. It caught up a lot faster than I thought it was going to. So there's a few ways we can do some of this. We can build ourselves what's called a passive provider chest. And what that does is it basically allows us to fill a bunch of stuff into a chest, kind of like this. And I want some guns in there. In fact, I'm going to want a lot more guns. Basically, you can see that I'm putting everything I need there for my perimeter defense. And the reason why is we're going to let the robots do all the work this time. Let's just make sure we got enough guns in here. I'll pick up a bunch more of those. Perfect. Yes, expansion becomes a lot easier once you've got the bots. That's kind of why I don't try to expand too much at the beginning, because it's just so much faster and easier once you've got the right tools for the job. In fact, we'll throw all those in there like that. Let's get some more tow poles in there, power poles. Let's get lots of transport belt, and of course we'll throw our wall in. We're going to want to keep a little bit of wall for ourselves because there's corners and things that I typically have to fix myself. But here's how it kind of works. So we talked a little bit about having these blueprints. So what we can do is we grab a blueprint, and what you want to do is you want to think about, if I was to lay this down as a little grid, what is my replication? So if we look at this here, I can say, well, if I was to take this component right here, and I was to run it to that power pole to just in front of these other guns, that's my grid. It's kind of, I can keep replicating that, and I will get exactly what's on this wall here. And I can just name this. I can say this is my wall defense. And I can click on that, and that's now named, and I can say that's a thing. And you can see that I've now got this thing in my hand. Now, I can just get rid of it by hitting escape or Q, and I can basically just keep picking it up because it is now a blueprint in my pocket. And what I can now do is I can come along and say, okay, well, what I really want to do is I want to just keep building my wall defense kind of like this. Now I got to be careful right here because you see I'm getting a couple of red boxes, and the reason why I'm getting those is because it's telling me you've got conflicting things going on in here. On this corner where I'm like right beside the radar dish here, I'm getting one, and it's telling me there's a corner there as opposed to a straight. The one that's the blue, it's telling me you have it already there and it's already built, and the one that's on the wall to the left there is telling me, hey, look, you got something in the way there. So what I can actually do is I can come along and I can snip this off, and I can snip that temporarily, and I can come in here and just go, okay, well, build this, lay it right over top of the other part, and now we've actually sent in some instructions, and our construction robots will come down. They will pick up the goods, and they will come over here and build it. And we can actually just start doing this over and over again. We can come along and just go, okay, well, just add on to the end of there, and add on to the end of there. Now you're going to see right now that it's allowing me to build out here, but it won't build it. And here they come. They're coming in, and they already started laying it out. And there comes our, we're catching up with our ammo, and we're going to have to think about how we're going to get our ammo circled back here. And I'm going to just kind of do this as a temporary mode right now. We're going to just actually loop it back right now, but because we want to do a couple other things first. But basically, it's going to keep doing this. Now, what it will do is if I have some construction robots in my backpack, it will actually allow me to act as the port if I have a roboport, which I don't have. So, unfortunately, we can't do that right now. I was thinking ahead to somewhere where I'm not yet. So later on, we're going to actually get a mobile roboport and be able to keep it in our back pocket and do that. But right now, we're going to just build a roboport here to do it. And the only danger right now is that we've built this roboport out in the middle of no man's land without any real defense. So that's a bit of a risk, but we'll take that chance. And there we go. They're going to go in there and fill it in because, well, we just put that in there. Now, the downside, of course, is we don't really have a defensive line here, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. If we lose this, we lose it. I'm not panicking too much at this point. What I want to do is I want to come down and think about knocking this gun emplacement out. Now, gun emplacement, this bug emplacement. We could just cut right through here. In fact, maybe we will do that, and then we'll come down and deal with these guys later. You can see it's just building constant bugs. But let's not do that. Let's instead think that we're going to actually just push through this way, and we'll just see if we can address these guys on the go. So it gets a little bit interesting. What I do want to do, though, is I want to bump this out a little bit further, just so it's a little bit closer to where we are, so we can build a little bit faster. Oh, what did I leave behind? I left the one thing behind I didn't want to leave behind. If we just place a box right there, I can dump some of this stone. I don't really need that much stone right now. Okay. Just get this kind of going here. And we don't want to do this every time, but I do want to do it if we're going to kind of keep pushing along like this right now. So let's get this transport belt back in there. Grab those, grab a bunch of those, grab all the wall, steal a little bit back. We're going to want all the yellow inserters in there. Where'd they go? Oh, they're already in there. Track, inserters, walls, guns. There we go. And I'll keep a couple guns because we're going to do a bit of fighting, so we're going to need some guns there as well. Okay, and I think we're okay to keep pushing this, so we're going to do so. So what we can do now is we can send out some robots to kind of chop things up. Oh, and actually let's do that as well. Before we go too far, why don't we go and deal with that thing that I mentioned that can be a concern, which is if our warehousing box is way up here. You can see this one robot flying way up here, and they'll keep doing that. They'll just keep going way up here to do it, and way up here, and it's going to cause us a lot of grief, and we don't want to deal with that right now. I'm just going to build a temp box there just because I want to kind of get all this moved. Let's just do that. Let's steal this box. I don't want those robots doing that big traverse just because we don't have a lot of them. We only got like 50 in the system right now. And they'd be spending all their time flying back and forth. I want them nice and close so that they can kind of chew these trees up and build for me really fast. So like I said, we got to kind of think about what we're doing. If I built this just outside of the network and brought my own robots, I'd be okay to do it as well. So there's a couple ways I could do it. It's just, this is the way I've chosen to go. There we go. And now we can come in and we can say, okay, quickly grab me some trees. Now what's going to happen is there's a good chance that when we send these robots out here, that they might pick up a few tails being these bugs. So we got to kind of do this a little bit piecemeal here until we can kind of expand our wall along. And we'll just kind of keep, all right, we got away with that. We'll see if we can get away with this. And then at the same point, we'll just come along here and say, okay, let's just keep pushing this. And I'm going to have to take this little loop out of here again. And just do that. Just kind of like this. And there we go. And this should be pretty easy for us to keep up with. We should be able to just kind of punch through here a little bit. And the other thing we got to keep thinking about is expanding our roboports here as well. So we want to make sure we have a space for our new roboport, which is going to be over in here somewhere. So we'll just go build a little hole there. And you can see that they're just kind of doing their thing. And the only thing we got to do is make sure that we can kind of defend this. Because you got these, what's happening is this bug farm up here is feeding this one. So they're going to keep trying to come across this. So we're going to have to wipe that out in a couple secs here. But for right now, we are going to see if actually I don't think I want to drop that roboport in there until we deal with that. So I think we'll just loop this ammo loop back for right now. This isn't the best way of doing this, but it's just a way of doing it. And what we're going to do is now I think we're going to punch up here and just go after these guys. So we're going to show you a little bit about how and I'd rather not do this in the dark, to be honest. I'll show you how I like to fight with these guys. So, unfortunately, we don't have a... Do I have the ability to build one? If I do, I want to go build one. In fact, I can't do what I'm about to do. I can't do what I'm going to do because I don't have the RoboPort. I had forgotten about needing the RoboPort. Alright, so we're going to have to do this a little bit differently. So, it's actually not a bad way of kind of as a prelude to how I like to fight. When I got bugs and I really need to clean them out, what I will often do is come out with a few guns. I'll set myself up a little bit of a defensive line. That's not a lot, but it should be good enough. And what we're going to do is I want to chop myself some trees here just to kind of get my way through, and I could do that with guns. I can toss a couple grenades, get those out of the way like that. All sorts of different ways I can do it. But what will happen is as soon as I lay a gun within their sort of sniffing zone, all these guys are going to go off like they just kind of did. So they're going to get a little bit crazy here, and I'm just going to lay out a couple guns to give me some cover. Now, you can see all those spitters. Hopefully you can see them in the dark there. They've stood up. What I want to do is I want to put a gun just out of their range, as closest to it as I can. And if I get one there, then I know that I've got some defense to kind of work from. As long as I don't step in front and get hit like that, I'm good. So you can see that its hitbox is a little bit further away. So what I like to do is I use the guns as sort of throwaways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run in. When I place this gun, all the spitters are going to start spitting at it. They can reach it. And if I run in about 4 or 5, they'll start spitting at the guns, and I can lay guns in right beside them while this gun covers me up to there. So here we go. Get them out in front of me. Basically put ammo into this one and this one. And you can see all of a sudden we can just kind of lay this out really fast. So basically I just use the others for decoys, and then we just kind of chew the bug base apart, and there we go. It's pretty simple process for fighting them. There's other ways of doing it, just kind of the way I like to do it. I find that, you know, I might lose a gun here or two. You know, like I almost lost these two. It just depends on how many are in there, but it's a fast, efficient method of getting rid of a bug base. And now we don't really have to worry about this one as much. We're going to be able to come back in here. We're going to be able to, you know, just kind of keep building our wall and not worry about having another RoboPort. But, oh, and this one at the end here is taking some fire, but luckily we've got lots of ammo, and look at them all. So hopefully we'll see if this can hold off. I'm gonna watch, just kind of give it a bit of an eyeball. It doesn't look like it's in any real jeopardy. Yeah, no problem. So that we can, you know, now we've learned that this little end gun can actually handle it all by itself. So, you know, I think a combination of our ammo and our guns is working really well. But I think we're going to call that an episode. We've got into our robots. We've started an expansion. And next pass, what we're going to do is we're going to push really hard. I'm not going to talk too much about what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of get in there and just get it done. I'd like to see us push this all the way right out to this lake. I'd like to take out this base. I'd like us to do the exact same thing, maybe off of this wall here. And then just clean out anything that's in here. Just make sure there's nothing in here. Get it all walled in. Get us a good defensive line here and basically expand our line all the way around. That will cause us a little bit of grief with us not pulling enough copper off of here. So I want to check out the copper supply a little bit. And maybe add a few more robots. So we're probably going to have to work on that as well. But other than that, we're in a good place right now. We're going to be able to quickly chunk this off. It'll probably take us at least next episode to get that chunked off and sealed up for ourselves. And once we've got that, then we can start thinking about, okay, what are we going to do about trains, processing, you know, what are we going to be doing with this great open space that we've got? But yeah, we'll get there for sure. We're starting to feel, you know, we aren't in a lot of jeopardy right now. We're in a good place, even though we got these big, you know, you can see all these big bug bombs out here, giving us some grief. We're holding them off. We got the tech to hold them off. You know, our guns are hitting hard enough. If we're going to run into any problems right now, it might be that we might need to expand our power supply. If we just take a look, but we're still, I mean, we're only at 50%. So, anyways. Thanks for joining me. Appreciating likes. Always appreciate any comments. Thanks for joining me, and please subscribe. I'm Nerd Dad, and I am out.